For more on this and the announced pick at the Pentagon, we're pleased to be joined via Skype by Newsmax chief political columnist and White House correspondent Jon Gizzi. So, Jon, you heard what Ed had to say during his report. Look, it seems to me federal contracts, that could be leverage, tax incentives within the state of Indiana. What's wrong with that?
Well, the only thing wrong with that I have heard, JD, is that this is something that in 3 years, for example, may not be renewed, and that Carrier will come to the table again and want an even better deal. Hence Bernie Sanders' hostage analogy. That said, I note with interest today at the White House, when I asked for the official reaction to the Trump-Pence policy of keeping Carrier in the United States and using some very strong language about it, and how contrary this was to free market economics, Acting Press Secretary Eric Schultz punted. He refused to criticize the president-elect and instead just said this is what President Obama believes, and went through a record of the Obama record on jobs and business in the United States.
Well, it's interesting they'd be quiet now because, as we know, President Obama was quite dismissive of Donald Trump, the candidate, during the campaign, but Mr. Trump got this done. Now, Brother Gizzi, very quickly, I want to get to something else, and that is filling the vacancy at the Pentagon.
Yes.
The Secretary of Defense designate, Mattis, may be new to a whole lot of folks, but not to you and Newsmax. You had the chance to ask Mattis a question earlier this year at the Center for Strategic and International Studies Forum. Let's listen to the exchange involving you, Jon Gizzi, and General Mattis.
I guess I'll point to the elephant in the room. General, you have been mentioned so often, very much like your fellow scholar soldier, James Gavin, was a generation ago, to run for president either as a Republican or as an independent. Have you given any thought to it, and how serious are the rumors about it?
No, I haven't given any thought to it.
How serious are the rumors?
I think people like you know that better than I do.
So Jon Gizzi, pretty interesting. Sounds like the general, though his nickname may be Mad Dog, he was somewhat of a diplomat, remaining non-committal, as you pointed out. The Never-Trumpers had reached out to him, trying to get him to mount an independent campaign for president, but tonight he is the Secretary of Defense designate.
Yes, I find it very interesting that he was someone that Weekly Standard editor Bill Kristol and others promoted to be their great hope as an independent candidate. As the general indicated to me, and as our exchange makes clear, he was not interested at all, and within days of our exchange, he formally removed himself as a possible candidate for office. I find it interesting that he is only the third former general in 80 years to be asked to become civilian head of the military in the United States, the others being Patrick Hurley, Secretary of War under Herbert Hoover, and of course General George Marshall, Secretary of Defense under President Harry Truman.
And of course, Jon Gizzi, you are always one to offer a historic and encyclopedic analysis, and we very much appreciate that tonight via Skype from Washington, D.C.